Well, hi, everyone. My name is Holly, and I serve as the children's director here. And I am so excited to ask my friends, 5th grade and under, if you would stand, because it is time for our children's message. And listen, I brought some friends with me today. They are some characters from a story world that I love called the 100-Acre Wood. Maybe some of you know about the 100-Acre Wood. Anybody know who lives in 100-Acre Wood? If you know, you can yell it out. That's right, Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little character quiz about Winnie the Pooh and his friends, and then maybe some of his friends are going to come out to say hi. Okay, so an easy one first. Who is always looking for honey? That's right. Our friend Winnie the Pooh, right? He's always out looking for honey. Lay him here. Okay, who is often anxious and afraid, but really tries to be brave for his friends? Anybody know? It is Piglet. Thank you, Mrs. Carrazza, a Pooh expert. Piglet, and also who? Pooh's best friend. Who's best friend? Who loves to bounce? Tigger, thank you. Exuberant little friend, Tigger. And finally, not to be overlooked, who is often a little bit gloomy? Eeyore! Yes, Eeyore. And Eeyore's going to show up again for a little while today. Well, Winnie the Pooh and his friends can teach us a little bit about what it means to care for each other in community. They go looking for one another, right? Piglet and Pooh often show up at one another's houses and they go for walks. They love to celebrate each other, just like we want to celebrate Neve, who had a birthday this week, and Hank Keenan, who was born this week, right? They love to celebrate each other like we do. When one of them is in trouble, they usually get together and they try to think of a plan, right, to help each other. And they even show patience with one another's not very good traits. So I'm holding Eeyore here, and Eeyore is usually, let's face it, depressed and gloomy and not really that fun to be around, right? But they always include Eeyore in their adventures, don't they? They love him faithfully. And in fact, in one of my favorite stories, Winnie the Pooh notices that something is missing. I don't know if anybody knows this story. Pooh notices that Eeyore's tail is missing, okay? And he points this out, and they are both rather alarmed, okay, that Eeyore is missing his tail. And here's an excerpt that I'm going to read you from the actual story. You ready? Looking at where his tail used to be, Eeyore said gloomily, "That accounts for a good deal. It explains everything. No wonder." "You must have left it somewhere," said Winnie the Pooh. "Somebody must have taken it," said Eeyore. "How like them," he added, after a long silence. Pooh felt that he ought to say something helpful about it, but didn't quite know what. So he decided to do something helpful instead. "Eeyore," he said solemnly, "I, Winnie the Pooh, will find your tail for you." "Thank you, Pooh," answered Eeyore. "You're a real friend." And listen, Winnie the Pooh did go looking for Eeyore's tail, and he did find it, and they did reattach it to Eeyore. And Pooh noticed that he had never seen Eeyore dance and frisk about quite that happily before. Now, stories like that can remind us of our need for friends who care for us, right? We all need friends who care for us. And listen, when Jesus was on earth, he showed what it meant to be a true friend. Jesus was very present with his followers. He walked with them, he ate with them, he talked with them. He knew all the ways they failed, the dumb things they said, the times they didn't trust him. And he loved them anyway. And he sacrificed everything for them and for us. And listen, near the end of his life, he wanted to talk to them about being a friend. And he said this in John chapter 15. All right, this is what Jesus said. Jesus said, "My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last. And so that whatever you ask in the name of the Father, he will give to you. This is my command: love each other." Jesus chose to treat us as friends, right? Not as enemies, not as servants, as friends. And he died and rose again so that we could be with him always. So listen, if you ever go through a lonely time when you feel like your friends aren't there for you, I want you to remember that Jesus is always with you. But remember that God made you and me for friendship. And that's what Jesus was telling his disciples here. He made us especially for friends who help us to trust him and to follow him. And Jesus said that to follow him means to love one another. Well, let me leave you with one more quote from Winnie the Pooh that says it pretty well, and especially when we think about Jesus and what he said. Pooh said, "Some people care too much. I think it's called love."